And if you remember last year, we were in this room, and Denise Parker from the USOC stood here and spoke. Do you remember that? She did the keynote. And she referenced the Project Play team and the Aspen Institute and what they were doing over there. And I don't know if you remember that presentation, but we were aware of the Project Play and what they were doing. But it was when she stood up here and she spoke about the impact of, where the landscape of youth sport was and some of the challenges. And I'm going to talk to some of the challenges here as to why we've really pushed on and got this ADM model moving. And she spoke about, ask the kids what they want. And when they did this huge project and this research about that, I don't know if you remember, but she spoke about kids, 9 out of 10 kids play sport because of the word that TJ has been using quite a lot already, and I'm going to use it a little bit more, this idea of fun. 9 out of kids choose to play sport because it's fun. And then we also know that painful fact that when she stood here and said the reason kids stop playing sport is because it stops being fun. I've spent a long time, a long time thinking about that and just trying to get my head around that. And still, when I go out and watch and observe and see our reality, I see what I see, and we can do a much better job of making sure that our kids are having fun and we're providing great, engaging environments, and that's what this project is about. I know I am preaching to the converted here, all right? And I said yesterday to a group of coaches that I was working with there, and you will have heard me say this before, it is incredibly heartening to me and inspiring to me to see people do what you are doing, to take the time and the effort to and commitment and the fact you dip your hands in your pocket to come to this type of stuff, to come and get educated about education courses, to develop and grow yourselves so that you become better providers and able to facilitate your environments to provide a better service for the people that you work with. I really applaud you for that, and just take a moment to look around and look at the person next to you and give them a bit of a nod, give them a bit of a wink, give them a bit of a pat on the back, because it's really important. And the ADM for us it's as Simon said in his first slide, it's about what, how, who, when, where, and at what point we teach and how we teach it. It is for all of us, okay? All of us in this room have an invested interest in the sport. If you remember, those who were in Phil's presentation yesterday, I think he did a Mentimeter, and it was talked about coaches particularly. What makes a great coach? Do you remember what the response was? Anybody want to share that? What was the biggest word in the middle of that Mentimeter? Passion. Yeah, it was. Passion. You're all passionate people, all right? And as TJ said, this idea about retaining and keeping people in the sport is really critical to us, because we need umpires, we need coaches, we need people right the way through the pathway. So it is relevant, and we all play a part in it. Youth sport is a precipice, and a lot of people are seeing it, and there's a lot of challenges in youth sport right now. And some people are really starting to see the light and trying to grasp onto some of these things that are happening that are tangible, some of this physical literacy, some of these ADM models. And these are the things that we're trying to get onto to make sure we do right by our kids and by the people in the sport. So there is a huge opportunity for us. As TJ has just alluded to there, this is this pathway that starts right the way through, and it goes through all of these elements. Okay, so it was interesting. We were at something last year about the multi-sport organisations, and this is where I just want to give Sally and her team, the sport development team, a little bit of a big up and a big pat on the back. Sally and her team of sport development, I say her team, it's her and Jenna, have been tirelessly working with all of these communities and all of these stakeholders and thinking outside of our sport and getting into these multi-sport organisations and really, really working hard to put hockey front and centre in front of all of these people. And I am going to embarrass Sally, but could we just recognise the work that she's been doing with her team, because it is tremendous. And these are some of our challenges, okay? Participation is declining. Just going back to that thing about youth sport and kids. Do you remember what Denise said about fun and enjoyment was why kids did it? They stopped enjoying it, so they stopped doing it. And on that list, because we see this a lot, on that list, when asked what was most fun in sport, do you remember where winning sat? I think it may have changed. I thought it was 48th, okay? But either way, there are 38 or 47 different things ahead of winning that kids see as more fun. That's quite incredible, right? Yeah, we tend to focus on that quite a lot. But these are all real, challenges that are right in front of us right now as far as big sport participation. In our sport of field hockey, we also have some challenges. That is very clear. Many people in America have not sort of heard it, they've not seen it, and they've certainly not been around it. There is obviously this misconception that is for girls only. I did a presentation, it's a funny story, I thought it was funny. Funny story the other day, I went and presented to a company that are, they work in stone and builders, big burly men, all right? And I walked in there and I've never seen such an amazing array of bearded men. And I'm there to talk about culture. And I'm thinking, oh my, this is going to be fascinating. This is not the normal group of people that I speak to. And I walk in there and I'm thinking, because I was told it was executives and senior managers. It wasn't. It was guys at the coalface. And I was like, this is going to be fascinating. So here's me, some guy with a strange accent, with long hair, who plays, what, field hockey? And I had to convince these guys that I was okay, I was normal, and that this sport outside of America was this global thing, and it is actually one of the few sports that is 50-50 gender equal. 50-50 is one of the greatest sports in terms of equality for men and women around the world, all right? And so I was quite nervous for a while, but I did talk them around. They're okay in the end. But yes, of course, we do have our challenges. And again, I've had these transitions, TJ. Did you do my transitions? These are somewhat incredible. We have, we also, serious point, we have some challenges here. Expansion or extinction. Those are in the world we're in. We are aware of this real concern around, Pacific in particular. We just lost 1/4, a quarter of our community in California has been removed from collegiate programs. That's a real danger to us. And you guys in that world, you know that that's very front and center in what's happening. Hendrix College, you may not have seen this, it wasn't as high profile, but we now know that, they've just dropped their programs and there's no more hockey in Arkansas anymore. It's a real challenge to us, all right? It's becoming more and more difficult for schools to get started. There are some challenges around facilities. There are, our game requires these expensive facilities. The equipment is sort of a bit odd, a bit unusual. Well, I can't play left-handed. No, you can't play left-handed. I can't use both sides of the stick. No, that doesn't work either. All right? And, I'm lucky. I live in Lancaster, so I am in the hotbed for hockey. So I can walk into my local Dick's Sporting Goods, and there is actually a couple of hockey sticks in there, all right? But most across America, you don't get that opportunity. And if you do get lucky enough to stumble across a rack full of hockey sticks, you're looking at them and you think, okay, which one do I need? For my kid who's this big, that stick seems a bit tall, but, we'll give it a go. And the wrong equipment to the wrong people can be a really bad experience, and they think, you know what, I'll go and play something else. So we have to be educating people around that so that we can, that's a kind of a funny one, but it's also true as well. Depending on what sort of surface you're playing. I sometimes see, Sally desperately tries to get me onto grass to demonstrate skills on grass, because I know it's our reality, we play a lot on grass. So I begrudgingly get out onto these grass fields, and you think, yeah, this is a very different experience than if you're playing in a sports hall. Okay, and we have to be aware and mindful of that when we're working and creating environments. There, of course, there are some, there is a perceived view that it is a dangerous sport. Of course, the sticks are hard, the balls are hard. We have this mandatory rule for high schools about goggles, actually the only place in the world that we have it, and that's another discussion for another day. But that's some of the challenges that we have. The opportunities that we have are that this group is an incredibly passionate, dedicated group of people that I think will not take too much convincing to adopt this type of model and this type of behavior. All right? We have a huge opportunity for growth. We can see that as a threat that we are sort of not as big as we'd like to be, or we can see it as an optimistic view, is that we have a massive opportunity to get into untapped markets and get into communities and get in front of people that are new, that we can bring new to the sport and our existing partners. And this is the work that Sally and her team are doing so well, and I think she's going to talk in a minute about some of the equipment tools and tools that she's got that can help with some of driving these programs. So I hope you are starting to get hooked onto this. Stephen and I, Dr. Harvey and I, will be doing a little presentation after this session and trying to bring this ADM to life. We'll give you some practical tools and tips out on the field so you can see what this looks like, and we're going to look forward to seeing you over there in a few minutes.